Victorian government ministers on the ground in Melbourne have been unable to provide further detail on Premier Daniel Andrews' trip to China. The comments this morning come amid interference concerns around his meetings and calls for more transparency. Let's go to our political reporter, Simon Love. Simon, what's the Andrews government had to say this morning about this trip?
Well, not a lot, Laura. We know that the itinerary was released yesterday, which confirmed that Daniel Andrews landed in Beijing. He met with Australia's ambassador to China and also the Victorian government representative over there, as well as the education minister in China and the mayor of Beijing. But it's really this relationship, or this meeting rather, with the Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries that has all sorts of international policy, and analysts are quite worried given that the United States and the former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has previously hit out at that organisation for trying to influence foreign governments. Now, I put a question to the government minister up this morning, Colin Brooks, specifically asking him, is there a readout or details from Daniel Andrews about that specific meeting? Here was the question and the response.
Sorry, that doesn't really address my question though. Does the government have a readout of that specific meeting with the CPA and C?
No.
I'm joined now by Peter Walsh, the leader of the Nationals here in Victoria. Peter, thanks for your time on AM Agenda. I want to ask you, what's your thought on this trip to China by Daniel Andrews? You've taken trips when you were previously in government. Is there questions to be answered around it?
Lots of questions. First of all, it is a taxpayer-funded trip, so Victorians deserve to know what value they're going to get out of the Premier and his department secretary and his own private staff going on that trip. And if I was going there to actually get foreign students back to Victoria, I would actually take some Vice-Chancellors with me. Take people who know the industry. The Premier might think he is, but he's not the font of all wisdom. Take the people with you that know about the industry. Make sure you actually achieve a good outcome for Victorian taxpayers.
Trade's a big issue at the moment with China. You're obviously a representative from the bush, essentially, here in Victoria. Do you think that should be the major priority for Daniel Andrews, talking about trade, getting that back going? Even though it's a federal government issue, Victoria's got all sorts of trading partners.
Well, you'd work with the federal government, you'd work with your federal departments going into a foreign country and push Victoria's interests. In this case, the Premier wants to get more foreign students back. That's a good outcome if he can achieve it. But why not take the industry with you? What is so secretive that you can't actually take Vice-Chancellors with you?
I appreciate your time, Peter. We'll talk to you a little bit more after this, but a little bit of a sense there from Peter Walsh, leader of the Nationals. Thanks for your time here on AM Agenda. A little bit of a sense there of some of the criticism and the transparency calls around this trip. Laura?
Thanks, Simon.